want you to give me your 5 most improved players. And because I just talked about how improved he is, I need you to start with him.
Oh, nicely done. Mo Wagner is a guy that, when I was asked this question, he was the first guy that came to mind because, to your point, Mike, last year he wasn't able to really kind of get incorporated until the latter part of the season. He showed some flashes in the NCAA tournament, but he's so much more confident because his body's developed a little bit. He came in as kind of a stationary jump shooter, but he's become so much more than that, impacting on both ends of the floor. Tonight he showed his ability to step out and knock down the threes, and you can see his confidence rising as this season has unfolded. And with the other three-point shooters that they have out there on the wing, to have a post presence that they can throw the ball in there from time to time will make those three-point shooters even more important.
The next one on your list was the first one I thought of, because just watching Caleb Swanigan, he feels like he's so much more confident when you just sit back and watch him play the game.
Yeah, and you could see it this summer before Purdue went over on their trip to Spain. His body was a little bit different, and his role, I think he settled into his role. You know, Mike, he came in with such acclaim as a high school recruit. I think there were times a year ago where he tried to do too much, and it was shown in the fact that, you know, he might have taken an ill-advised shot or forced something. You don't see that this year. He knows what his role is. He's still leading the conference in rebounding, but his shot selection is better, and he is somebody that I think is one of the most improved players in the league, even though he came in at an elite level. And a guy in the Twin Cities, we talked about the improvement of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. For me, it starts with their junior point guard, Nate Mason. He's always been very careful with the basketball, almost a 3-to-1 assist-turnover ratio a year ago. But offensively, he's playing with far more confidence. They're running things for him, and that has allowed them to move him off the ball from time to time and put the ball in the hands of Amir Coffey. But the junior Nate Mason has really been impressive to me because defensively he's locked in. He's always taking care of the basketball, but you can tell he worked on his jump shot. That's going to make him a far more difficult guard.
The fourth name on your list is one I don't think many Big Ten fans have heard that often. Why is Ed Morrow on the list?
Offensively, he started to kind of round into his own. A year ago, he battled some foot injuries. Tough player. You know, he knows what his job is. Last year, he would come in for periods of time and rebound. He's continued to do that. A couple of double-double performances thus far for the sophomore from Chicago, most notably against Dayton. But he's also become a more assertive offensive force. He's calling and asking for the ball. And the reason he shoots north of 60%, Mike, is that he knows what his role is. It's not to step out and knock down threes. He plays around the rim and does that job very, very well. And the last player, other people may think, you know what? Hey, you know, Malcolm Hill, he's pretty good. And
Had a great year last year.
Great year last year. The reason I think he's one of the most improved players is that he's such a quiet guy by nature. And there were times a year ago that he would kind of fade into the background and not demand the basketball. That has not been the case this year. He's an outstanding player. I like the fact that he's playing with a tremendous amount of urgency, not just for his team, but he understands, hey, the clock is ticking on my time in Champaign, and he has delivered. There are times this year when he's demanded the basketball, his teammates have gotten into it, and I think in addition to improving his skills, that's the reason he's on my most improved player list.
Again, this is a guy who, like you said, led his team in points, rebounds, assists last year, but even taking that next step forward has been helping him. That's Shon's look at the 5 most improved players in the Big Ten.